What if the answer to all our modern day chaos wasn't some new app or a new piece of technology, but a really, really ancient operating system for life itself? Well, that's the powerful idea we're going to explore today as we break down this concept of Tao 2.0. Yeah, if you're watching this slide probably hits pretty close to home, right? It feels like we're constantly being pulled in a million different directions by notifications, by the news, by a future that just feels more and more uncertain. It's a feeling we all kind of share these days. And when you put it side by side like this, wow, the contrast is just stark. On the one side, you've got our modern struggles, that digital overload, the constant polarization, and this burnout culture that's just everywhere. And on the other, the solutions offered more than 2,500 years ago, things like simplicity, balance, and this art of effortless action. So the big question is, how do we bridge that gap? Well, that's exactly where this idea of Tao 2.0 comes into play. See, it's not about trying to go back in time. It's about taking this incredibly powerful ancient operating system and upgrading it for the unique challenges of our modern world. And I want to be clear, this isn't just some abstract philosophy. Tao 2.0 is a real framework. It actively blends those ancient ideas of flow with what we're learning from modern neuroscience. It uses metaphors from quantum physics to help these big ideas click, and it even looks ahead with future foresight. It's a true synthesis of the old and the new. So let's get into the core of it, the real nuts and bolts. We're going to break down 3 foundational Taoist principles and see exactly how they've been upgraded to help us solve some of today's most pressing problems. First up is the big one, the eternal Tao. Probably the best way to think about it is as the underlying natural flow of the universe. It's not a person or a god, but more like a guiding force. Kind of like a river that effortlessly carves its way through a valley. It doesn't do it with brute force, but with persistence and by following the path of least resistance. And the person who wrote the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu, he absolutely nailed it with this line. The moment you try to put a label on it, to define it with words, you've already missed the point. It's something you have to experience, something you feel, not just talk about. This quote really gets at its deep, indescribable nature. So, how can we wrap our heads around that today? Well, the modern twist is to think of the Tao as a kind of quantum field, a field of just infinite possibilities. And in this view, our thoughts, our intentions, can actually entangle with that field of reality, helping to collapse all those possibilities into a state of harmony. It's a really powerful way to reimagine our connection to everything around us. Okay, let's move on to our second principle, Wu Wei. Now, this often gets translated as non-action, but that's a little misleading. It doesn't mean just sitting on the couch doing nothing. It really means effortless, intelligent action. It's about achieving your goals by aligning with the natural flow of things, instead of trying to just brute force your way to a solution. It's pretty much the perfect antidote to hustle culture. And again, Lao Tzu's wisdom here is just so clear, isn't it? It's about knowing when to push and when to wait. Trusting that if you just align yourself with the current, things have a way of working themselves out. It's about being effective, not just being busy. There's a huge difference. And here's where it gets really cool, because this is a perfect example of ancient wisdom predicting modern science. Today, we actually have a name for this concept. We call it the flow state. Psychologists have studied it like crazy, and the source material for this points out that being in that state of deep, effortless focus can boost your creativity by as much as 15%. Our third upgraded principle is one that, wow, we desperately need in our cluttered world: simplicity as strength. This is the whole idea that true power and true clarity don't come from adding more stuff, but from stripping away everything that's non-essential. And this isn't some new minimalist trend. Lao Tzu was advocating for this thousands of years ago. It's an ancient call to find your freedom and focus by just reducing the noise, both the noise around you and the noise inside your own head. And its modern application could not be more direct. The 21st century version of embracing this kind of simplicity is the digital detox. It's a conscious choice to just step away from the constant flood of information and ads so you can find what actually matters to you. All right, so we've covered the theory, which is great, but how do we actually put this stuff into practice in our real lives? Let's take a look at the modern toolkit for applying this ancient wisdom. And let me be super clear. This stuff works. This is not just feel-good philosophy. Modern neuroscience has actually validated that practices that come from these principles, like meditation, can concretely reduce your stress levels by as much as 20%. That's a real measurable impact. And what's amazing and a little ironic is that the very technology that often creates the problem can also be part of the solution. We can use AI mindfulness apps like Headspace, biofeedback wearables that literally help us find a calm state, and even virtual reality to guide our meditations. The tools are already out there. So, if you're feeling inspired right now, here are 4 simple, totally actionable first steps. You could just meditate on the idea of flow, maybe journal about some patterns you see in nature, declutter just a few items from your desk, or even just practice a 5-minute pause before you make a big decision. See, small steps can make a huge difference. Okay, let's move into our final section and look forward a bit. What happens when this ancient wisdom fully merges with the incredibly powerful technologies of tomorrow? What does that future look like? Well, the source material lays out this fascinating trajectory. By 2035, imagine an AI that could optimize our work to help us find those effortless wu-wei states. By 2050, you could have entire AI ecosystems designed to help us achieve mastery of these principles, leading to these profound increases in our overall life satisfaction. It's pretty wild to think about. So, as we wrap things up, what are the big takeaways here? First, our most complex modern problems might just have elegantly simple ancient solutions. Second, that the Tao is a living, flexible path, not some rigid set of rules. And maybe most importantly, that technology doesn't have to be the enemy. It can actually be a powerful ally in amplifying this timeless wisdom. And all of this leaves us with one final, really powerful question to chew on. In a world that's going to be more and more shaped by artificial intelligence, could it be that this ancient, deeply human wisdom is the most essential guide we have to make sure our future is one of harmony, balance, and flow?